Good morning, folks. This is Deb Delapiana, and this is your Shut the Fuck Up. It's like I said, now that the GOP is, now that we're through the midterms and the GOP is back to its, usual do nothing self, we're going to have plenty of shut the fuck up material for you. And we're going to start today with Kevin McCarthy's grand and glorious pronouncement that on the first day of the new Congress, they're going to read the U.S. Constitution. Now, Kevin McCarthy can shut the fuck up because, in fact, it means nothing if you read 4 pages that contain about 4,543 words that you do not abide by. Okay, reading the Constitution is different than following the Constitution. 2 different things. If they believed in the Constitution as a real institution of this government, we wouldn't have had the January 6th insurrection. We wouldn't have had Roe v. Wade overturned. We would not be trying to legislate LGBTQ and transgender people out of existence. We would not continue to be burying school children. We would not have people targeting minority groups and the GOP remaining silent in the face of all that. You know what? This is a bunch of shit. This is nothing more than public relations 101 for the inane, okay? This is governing for dummies. Perhaps while they're at it, they might want to read the fucking Bill of Rights and educate themselves, because they are about as ignorant and dismissive of the U.S. Constitution as you can get. It makes a mockery of this government. Kevin McCarthy doesn't even know that he's going to be the Speaker of the House yet, because from everything I'm seeing, he don't have the votes. Nevertheless, let them go ahead and read it, because they really don't have any plans in mind that benefit the American people. This is just another grandstanding attempt. That's number 1 today. Number 2, James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, is not even interested in talking about the latest shooting, the Walmart shooting, which actually is now not the latest shooting. We had a shooting in Florida yesterday at Florida A&M University, 1 dead, 4 injured, another mass shooting. This brings the total up to over 600. One site has them listed as 700 shootings in 2022. Okay, one of those sites is off. I'm not sure which one it is, but if it were 500, there'd be fucking too many in a year in the United States, when some other countries actually don't have any. Why? Because they don't have a gun culture. But according to James Comer, passing bills doesn't solve any of these problems. Really? Well, let me just tell you something. When assault weapons, and I mean assault weapons, I want to describe to you what I'm calling an assault weapon. An assault weapon is a semi-automatic weapon and an automatic weapon, just so we don't quibble about this. When those were banned, mass shootings went down by 48%. They were allowed to expire in 2004 by George W. Bush. It was just allowed to expire. Nobody picked it up. No one took it up because the GOP was in control, and they pay fealty to the National Rifle Association, which is basically Murder Inc. Okay? Legislation does change this, but it's legislation the GOP doesn't want to talk about. Here's what we need in America. Every gun, I don't give a fuck if it's a pea shooter, needs to have a registration number that is registered with the government. Every single gun owner needs to have an expanded background check. And guns don't go to people with serious mental health issues or domestic abuses, for that matter. Guns need to be able to be traced and tracked. No buying ammunition online. None of that bullshit. You want to go get ammunition, go to a gun shop and buy it. And go through all the process you need to go through. And nobody needs, by the way, automatic weapons, period. Nobody. I saw a picture today of a guy in a fucking bakery with his wife with a fucking big ass AR strapped to his back. Absolutely patently ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing that this shit is allowed in the United States of America. In fucking Texas, there are certain books you can't read if you're 16 years old, but you can get a weapon, and fairly easily. And no one will ever convince me that Kyle Rittenhouse was a victim. I'm sorry, folks. This shit is off the chain now. We had a shooting yesterday. We had a shooting the other day at Walmart. You know what? Whether this is a targeted hate shooting, which, by the way, Club Q was, regardless of what Colorado Springs tells you, because they're just dicking around with themselves in the bathroom, okay? Whether you have a hate shooting or whether you have a college campus where kids get into a fight and they solve their problems with guns, we have a problem here in America. We should not allow guns on college campuses. We shouldn't allow them in churches. We shouldn't allow them in hospitals. We shouldn't allow them in fucking football stadiums. They're a recipe for disaster. Now, you want these people to stand up and own up and take ownership of this? It's up to us to start bitching and moaning about this stuff. They're not just going to do it because they're going to do the right thing, particularly the GOP. They are the gun culture in America. Number 3, Donald Trump sharing dinner with Nicholas Fuentes and Yeezy, and then claiming to not know who Nicholas Fuentes is. That's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Donald Trump knows one thing. He knows white supremacists. He knows his white supremacists, and he knows who Nicholas Fuentes is, because it's impossible not to know who Nicholas Fuentes is. He had dinner with a white nationalist and an anti-Semite, and Yeezy, a white nationalist, if you can believe it, because he's a proponent of there's no racism in America, and an anti-Semite, because those words have come right the fuck out of his own mouth. And by the way, Milo Yiannopoulos was also there, who now seems to be the campaign manager for Yeezy for the 2024 presidency. We've already got 2 clowns in the car, Trump and Yeezy. Let's see how many more we can squeeze in. They may have to go out and buy a fucking train or a bus before this thing is over. But for the GOP leadership, that would be, once again, Kevin McCarthy, if you listen to him, and bitch McCon man, to just remain silent in the face of all this. Again, proven point that they do not govern. For them to remain silent while the man who is running under the same moniker as they are, the same group that they are governing from, to remain silent in that should be confirmation to you that the GOP is a racist, bigoted, anti-Semitic, anti-gay, transphobic party. And there is absolutely no place in American governance for any of that. None of it. All of these people need to be voted out of office. Look, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, I firmly believe that Merrick Garland will indict Donald Trump. There is no question in my mind now, okay? But that doesn't stop all of this. The people who are currently in office in the GOP are still election deniers. They're still seditionists. They're still liars. They're still cheats. They aren't going to go away just because Donald Trump gets indicted. We did not do what we really needed to do. Yes, the GOP did not win the majority that they should have won by any stretch of the imagination historically. But the Democrats had more than 52% of registered Democrats gone out and vote. We could have helped put the first nail in the coffin, and it could have made our future a lot easier. 2024 is coming. Let's not fuck this up again. I will talk to you all later. And Donald Trump saying he doesn't know Nicholas Fuentes, he can really shut the fuck up. His lies are getting more ridiculous over time. I'll talk to you later.